LLM distillation challenges innovation, blurring AI uniqueness in a shifting market landscape.
For tech supremacy battles. In other words, if we're adding value or going to have value via the proprietary nature of many of these LLMs, some of the unique value and behaviors they're able to provide. And obviously, we use them every day and applications use them every day. They're basically a back-end system that provides access to huge amounts of intelligence that can enhance the way in which we, write, speak, process, accounts, things like that. And their ability to replicate those capabilities or put them over in the other LLM, is going to be a concern because suddenly you don't have any strategic differentiator in your model because they stole everything. So we're not seeing the advances that we saw just a few years ago, certainly not in 2022 when the first LLMs dropped. So these sorts of things where it is stealing from each other is going to be a concern because, again, if they are able to adopt all of your features and your core values, then they're going to be able to beat you in the market, or at least be even with you in the market, which probably isn't fair for many of these large LLM providers, that spend, many millions of dollars every time they train these models, and that's what they cost. So firms hoard models amid chip bans, expect more, such probes, distillation demands, global norms, watermarking, and query forensics to protect innovation. They're going to have to get very good at figuring out how to secure their parametric data while making it accessible to people who actually need it. Again, that's going to be the trade-off. And I think we're always going to see a world where there's going to be these distillation attacks because people are going to change their vectors in many instances. And I also think in many instances, they may have already occurred. We just didn't know they were there. In other words, there was no detection capabilities, anomaly detection to figure out that they occurred. And so we may enter a world the next few years where these LLMs kind of normalize. In other words, they're plus or minus 5% of each other because they're training from each other because of these this distillation attacks, things like that. And I'm not sure if that's good or bad. I think that it's probably not fair that these LLM providers are kind of getting screwed over if they're the ones who did the innovation and they're not able to earn from it and provide value from it, then that's a bit of an issue. And also people who are looking for distinct capabilities that an LLM has, and that's going to be of value to the LLM. And if you see it replicated within another LLM through these distillation, absorbing of the parametric knowledge, things like that, that's not really fair. And I think that's what we're going to see probably for the next few years. This kind of spy versus spy stuff, and we'll see where it goes.